So I want to talk for a minute about Joe Biden and Peter Doocy. Yesterday afternoon, Peter Doocy is a reporter for Fox News, covers the White House. Joe Biden, obviously the president of the United States. Doocy was asking a question about inflation, and Joe Biden called him a, quote, stupid son of a bitch. Now, if you've ever listened to Outkick shows, you know that I'm not going to get worked up about something like this because words are not something that I lose sleep over. And I thought, honestly, Peter Doocy and Jesse Waters did a good job of kind of making fun of this and treating it in a lighthearted fashion compared to what left-wingers did every time that Donald Trump ridiculed anybody in the media. It was an assault upon democracy, an assault upon the free press. How dare the First Amendment be challenged to such an extent? They all curled up in the fetal position, clutched their pearls, and fainted. And then when Joe Biden did basically the exact same thing, what did they do? They applauded him. They gave him credit for making a joke, even though it was on an open mic. And you might hate me. You might be watching this right now. You might be listening to it like, Clay Travis, he drives me crazy. He's the biggest liar. The challenge that you have is almost every one of my opinions stands on precedent and principle over party. Let me repeat that. If you look at all of my opinions over years, they add up to consistency. I treat everybody the exact same. White, black, Asian, Hispanic, gay, straight, male, female, Republican, Democrat, independent. I don't care, right? I don't care at all if the president occasionally uses salty language. It doesn't make me grab my pearls and fall on the fainting couch, okay? But if you argued that Trump doing that was a threat to American democracy, then if you're the Brian Stelters of the world, if you're at CNN, if you're at MSNBC, if you're Jim Acosta, you should have to respond the same way to Biden as you did to Trump, okay? And if you tried to argue that this represented some sort of existential threat to democracy because the president occasionally made fun of a media member or talked down to him, then you need to grow up and do the same thing for Joe Biden. I disagree. I don't get worked up about it. I don't think it's very significant, but your precedent that you set in responding to Trump matters as it pertains to the precedent that you set going forward with Joe Biden. The hypocrisy is a story. And people say, why do you call out hypocrisy? Because there's about 30% of people who are Democrats. There's about 30% of people who are Republicans. And there are a solid 40% of people in the middle that I would call persuadable, right? They're somewhat independent. They might have voted for Donald Trump. They might have voted for Barack Obama. They might have voted for Joe Biden. They might vote for Ron DeSantis in the future or Donald Trump again or whatever else. I would put myself in that category. People are like, oh, you're alt-right. You're so far right-wing. No, I just apply consistent principles, and the world has so gone insane that I seem like I'm right-wing, particularly in the world of sports where you're a right-winger. If you say, hey, you know what? I don't think a biological man should swim against a biological woman. I think that's wrong. I don't think a biological man should set an all-time record against a woman, right? If he's a biological man. And so that is the principle and the precedent upon which I stand. And I wish more people did it. But I think one reason why the audience for Outkick and why the audience for the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show continues to skyrocket is because there are so few people that are consistently honest with their audience that there is a desperate demand for it. And people are finding our shows and our content, which is sane in an insane world.